You're listening to the Fitness Matters Podcast, episode number 1. Hey, Killer Bees, it's Paula B, and welcome to the newly reimagined Fitness Matters Podcast, where every Sunday we talk about the fitness matters that matter to you, because you guys, you know what? Fitness matters, and even more importantly, changing your mind matters. That's what we're talking about today. This is a topic that has actually been on my mind for a while anyway, but it was super apropos for me to talk about this today if you are brand new to the Fitness Matters podcast and this is the very first episode you've ever listened to, it might be a little bit like, hey, I have no idea what you're talking about. But if you have been listening to what was now previously the Let's Run podcast, you might be thinking, hey, things are really different around here. And yeah, they really are. You guys, let me start off with this. It's okay to change your mind. It absolutely is. We as a people get it in our heads that changing our minds needs to be this thing, and that we turn ourselves around and around in circles with which thing is going to be better, the thing that I was already doing or the new thing that I think I want to do. And I have a lot of advice for you about changing your mind and what to do and how to change your mind, specifically as it holds to your fitness goals. But I also want to tell you a little bit, let's start off with a little bit about how and why I changed my mind. You know, I've been doing the Let's Run podcast for a while now. In fact, it's been a little over 2 years. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy when I think about that. It's been 2 years that I've been doing the Let's Run podcast. And yet, even though it was going great, even though I enjoyed it, even though I was getting a lot of what I wanted to get out of it, I changed my mind and I made it into the Fitness Matters podcast. And I want to kind of walk you through like my process for how and why I changed my mind. And then we'll talk a little bit about how and why you might change yours. Because like so often happens with all of our topics, there are two sides to this coin. There are the times when, of course, you should change your mind. And there are the times when maybe you don't need to, that maybe there's a mindset that actually needs to be changed rather than simply your mind. So you guys, why did I change my mind? I've been doing the Let's Run podcast for a while. Present tense, I still love that podcast. I love what I was able to do. I love the experience that I was able to get out of it. I love also where it is going now and in the future with this reimagining, with this Fitness Matters podcast. Here's what happened. A couple of things happened, actually, but probably the biggest thing that happened was that I got an email from somebody asking me. It was a person who does the mini challenge. The mini challenge is this free weekly thing that I put out every Sunday on my main YouTube channel, the Paula B Fitness channel, where I offer a free week worth of workouts planned for you so that you can get your goals, whether or not you're working towards like weight loss or body shaping / fitness maintenance or general fitness. And on that weekly challenge, I also have a Mindset Matters, a Fitness Matters section, which includes the Let's Run podcast. And so I got an email from somebody who was relatively new to the channel, new to the podcast, new to the mini challenge, kind of new to me. And she said, so I'm confused about the Let's Run podcast. Is it a workout? Is it a podcast? Is it part of the mini challenge? What's up with that? And I realized that I had kind of muddied my own waters with that. You know, when I began the Let's Run podcast way back when, 2 years ago in October of 2017, I truly had it in my mind that we were mostly going to talk about running. We were going to talk about Fitness Matters because that's what we do. But it was really far more geared towards running, more specifically than other Fitness Matters. And I mean, even right away, I did talk about losing weight and about other kinds of fitness things that we think about. But it really was an effort to, A, teach you how to run with running intervals, and B, talk to you about fitness matters. And the fact is that over the course of the 2 years, the running piece of the puzzle kind of, I'm not going to say it fell by the wayside because we were still walking and running every single week. But the teaching you how to run part of it became so much less of that podcast than I expected it to be. I expected to kind of keep talking about why we run and how we run and getting better at running as part of your fitness journey, as part of the whole picture of Fitness Matters. And it got to the point where I felt, and this wasn't even necessarily based on feedback, this was truly in my own mind, I felt like the running was really kind of taking a back seat to the things that I wanted to talk about. That the Fitness Matters had become far more the focus than the running. And that's a good thing. As far as I'm concerned, that's a perfectly lovely thing. It is the message that I have to share. But also, I felt bad at the same time. I wanted to be doing two things at once. And if you are not new to the Let's Run or the Fitness Matters podcast, I think you might know where I'm about to go with this. One of the most basic things that I tell you guys all the time, anytime we talk about goals, anytime we talk about Fitness Matters, anytime we talk about anything, even when we talk about running, when you share with me that you want to do X and also Y, and hey, if we're going for things, then also maybe Z and probably A, B, and C also. I kind of want to do it all. My advice to you is always, 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 always to pick one thing. And it's kind of funny that I had found myself in this situation. It's the cobbler's children who go without shoes. I found myself in this situation where I was trying to do two things. I was trying simultaneously every single episode to teach you how to run and talk about Fitness Matters. And I was muddying my own waters, and I wasn't doing either one of them as effectively as I could be. And so it came to my mind that was not a good thing. That, I cannot tell you all the time, hey, this is what you should be doing, and then not do it myself. And I was seeing firsthand the level of frustration that I was feeling with it. I felt like I was letting you down constantly. Every single week, I felt like I was letting you down by not teaching you how to run. And on the weeks that we talked more about running, I felt like I was letting you down by not talking about the mindset part of stuff. Even when we talked about running mindset, those were the few episodes that really, in my mind, really meshed well, really melded well, and really made me feel the most satisfied with what I was doing. And yet, those episodes were kind of fewer and farther between, and not by any stretch of the imagination, because I'm done talking about running. I could literally talk about running forever. And in that sense, let me tell you really quickly about something else that I changed my mind about. When I decided to create this podcast, the Fitness Matters podcast, where all we do is talk about Fitness Matters, and that you can use this podcast any way you want, like literally any way you want. You can listen in the car, you can listen at home, you can listen while you're doing the dishes, you can listen while you're going for a run, you can listen while you're going for a walk, you can listen anytime you want to. I simultaneously not really changed my mind, but made the decision to create a running only podcast. Now, I have not actually gotten that one up and running just yet. Yes, running. Haha, I cracked myself up. But that podcast, the Ready to Run podcast, will be very explicitly, very exclusively, very, very, very goal-orientedly towards teaching you how to run. Starting from scratch, moving towards a 5K. Starting from a 5K, moving towards a 10K. Starting from wherever you want to be and going wherever you want to go. I'm going to have episodes about that. It makes me feel amazing and light and happy and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't think about this 2 years ago. Or actually even, hey, if we're gonna walk down that mindset road of let's beat ourselves up, when I did my very, 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 very first running workout, which was in, oh my gosh, I know it was December because I know it was right before I ran the marathon that I love to run, which is actually coming up again because it's the first Sunday. It's the first Sunday in December every year, and I'm trying to think of what year it was. I think it was 2013, 2014, or 2015. It was one of those 3 years, which, I mean, that sounds super silly right now. No, you know, it wouldn't have been 2013. That's silly. 2013 was actually when I started on YouTube, so I bet you it was 2015. So 4 years ago, when I made my very first running workout, I knew deep in my heart that I was just kind of starting in the middle and that I wanted to tell you how to start from the start. And so I've changed my mind. Or rather, I made a decision. You know, that's the thing about changing your mind. It doesn't always feel like I'm going from one thing to another. Sometimes it's clarifying what you already are doing. And that's kind of how I feel. I feel so much more clear about what I'm doing. I'm so excited to be able to take you from A to B in one, I mean, certainly not one podcast, but in one area, and to really delve into everything that it takes to get from A all the way to B, and to really teach you what you need instead of giving you some of the information some of the time while we're simultaneously trying to do something else. And in that vein, it makes me really happy that while we're talking about fitness matters, that you can be doing something else, because I know that was kind of a barrier for some people when it had running in the title. And maybe you don't like to run, you're not interested in running, you don't have any interest whatsoever in learning how to run or taking it out on a walk and a run to listen to. I feel like that was a barrier for some people, that you felt compelled, like, gosh, if I had the intervals, you had to use them. You had to go for a walk or a run. Well, now I'm giving you permission to listen to this podcast in any way that feels good to you. So let's talk about how and why you might want to change your mind. And here's the other thing that happened. I got the email from the one woman who was asking me about the Let's Run podcast. And right around that same time, I actually got asked a question on Facebook. I have this super private, very interactive, incredibly supportive private Facebook group that I will have a link to somewhere in the show notes. It's called The Killer Beehive, and I absolutely love it. And it's just full of the most incredible women who are on this fitness journey, who are all looking to improve themselves. And I got asked this question about changing your mind from a woman who had been losing weight, successfully losing weight, and I'm going to put a little asterisks on the end of that, successfully losing weight, but kind of slowly, who was also, or is, not was, that sounds terrible, but at the time, is a runner, but asked me the question in the past tense. So it was a runner who, was following my advice about, when you're trying to lose weight, that really what you want to be doing is exercising very moderately. And that means basically doing, if not the exact same workout every day, but a very moderate, gentle workout every single day, and also eating the exact right number of calories. And so this woman who is a runner, she was like, I really miss going for my long runs. I really miss that some days I had shorter runs, some days I had more intense runs, some days each week I would have a long run. And she was like, I'm losing weight, but I really miss my long runs. I really miss training for running events. And so she was talking about changing her mind, changing her goal. And before I go any further, I want to say really quickly, if I ever talk about you in the podcast, and I realize I've now given this example of these two different women who asked me questions, and I feel like when I talk about specific examples that I'm never saying something like, wow, this person, really has problems or something like that. Like I'm never trying to like call you out and I'm certainly never going to use anybody's names, but I'm never making a point of the questions that you personally ask me for any other reason than to help other people. I truly 100% believe that this is something that happens to a lot of us. We get to this place in our lives where we're like, I want A, but I also want B. How do I choose between them? And I mean, I personally have been in this situation numerous times. I feel like this is the kind of mindset matter that is really, really appropriate and applicable to so many people. And in that sense, I'm so, so grateful to the women who ask me these questions, because when you ask me questions, it helps me answer the question for literally everybody else. This podcast has a wider audience than just the killer beehive. This question has a wider appeal than just, I like long runs and I also want to lose weight. Anytime you find yourself wanting two things simultaneously, you have to pick. You have to choose one goal to get one goal. Now, luckily, in my case, because I have the time and the energy to have two podcasts, I am going to be able to support both goals. But physically speaking, when you have two physical goals, losing weight, running long, losing weight, building muscle, running long, there are all kinds of choices that you might need to make on your fitness journey that you need to choose one before you can have the other one. I'm never going to tell you that you can't have it all. You can do anything you want, but you can't necessarily do anything you want all at the same time. And so I'm going to tell you again, I'm going to keep talking about me. Oh my gosh, this is like all about me today, but I do want to tell you how to make this sort of decision for yourself. Number one, you need to be, and I feel like I use this phrase a lot, and I know it always comes out a little bit funny, but you need to think critically. And I don't mean that like you need to be critical of yourself, but you need to think objectively about what it is that you're choosing between. I freely admit that I kind of got my ego involved in the Let's Run podcast. I did want to do it all. I really felt I really wanted to teach you how to run. I really, really did. And I look back now and I think, for the message that I have about mindset that has very little to do with running, for lots of us, but has everything to do with fitness, which does apply to literally everybody. I do feel like I was kind of pushing my own agenda with the running aspect of it. And so when I objectively looked at what it was that I was trying to accomplish, it became really obvious pretty quickly that I wasn't actually accomplishing that. The episodes that I was talking very specifically about running, I got lots of great feedback, but I also, numbers-wise, had a smaller audience. The episodes where I was talking about more general fitness topics, the numbers were higher. When in doubt, it is best to look at your numbers. When you are looking at choosing between two different goals, look at your numbers. What success are you having? And I think, in the specific case of the woman who was asking me about losing weight versus running long, I know that she was really specifically losing weight very slowly. And I will tell you that weight loss is an incredibly slow process. It's very slow. It is also punctuated by sometimes rather long periods of no movement on the scale. It takes a significant amount of patience and willpower, frankly, to work out moderately and to eat all the right number of calories and to mind your stress and mind your sleep and mind your water and still see nothing on the scale for days or sometimes weeks at a time. But analyzing those numbers, she was successful at it. She was losing weight. When you can analyze what it is that you're doing and come up with some objective numbers, and not necessarily predictions about the future, but based on those numbers, you might make some extrapolation into the future. That is one of the things that you need to do when you are deciding between two objectives. The other thing that I did, and this is something that I think we all do, we make this pros and cons list. And it's so funny to me how it's something that we very naturally do. I mean, and I still did it. I always make pros and cons. But the thing that's really funny about making a decision is that most of the cons are kind of irrelevant. Most of the cons are just stories that we're telling ourselves because we're not sure about ourselves, because we don't know what's coming in the future, or we're afraid of being, better than we are. We're afraid of trying something new, trying something different. I have found for myself 99.9% of the cons were just me projecting my fears out into the world. And so I'm going to encourage you, go ahead and make your list of pros and cons, but then look at it objectively and actually picture yourself being hugely successful in either scenario. And it really kind of changes the tone of what you think about, right? It kind of changes the tone, because so often when we're thinking about changing our mind, it's because we've kind of gotten it in our heads that the thing that we're doing right now isn't going to be successful in the future. This was something that I don't want to say I really struggled with it. It was something that I did struggle with, though. When I was trying to choose what to do, and again, I'm super duper lucky. I get to do both of them. But when I was trying to choose between teaching people how to run and talking about Fitness Matters, I pictured losing listeners. I pictured making people upset that there was no more running involved, or if I decided to go the other way with running only, I pictured people saying, "Oh, but I love the conversations that we have about mindset." I automatically pictured disappointing people, and therefore disappointing myself, not getting my goal. And I want you to pay attention to that, because it's something that we all do. We all get in this what if it turns out poorly kind of a mindset. But I want you to ask yourself, what if it turns out great? What if one more week of doing all the things that you're doing for weight loss resulted in a 3-pound loss? What if one more month of doing all the things that you're doing for your weight loss journey resulted in, losing 5 more pounds? What if you kept doing everything that you're doing to lose weight and you lost all the weight that you want to lose? What if you start a new podcast, which is kind of the old podcast, and find new people? What if this podcast actually opens you up to a different audience because lots of people don't really want to run? What if being clear in your goal actually helps you set some really clear ideas for what you need to do to get that goal? What if you put aside all those fears and succeeded and got what you wanted? It's a whole different way of looking at things, isn't it? It's crazy. It's crazy. When you picture the best case scenario in the things that you are deciding between, it'll be hopefully, it'll be really, really clear which way you should go. Now, here's the other thing that I feel is super important. I mean, this is my 3-part process for how to change your mind, how to make your decision. Consider things objectively, make your pro and con list, but also make a pro and pro list. And then this third thing, decide if you will have a secret goal. Secret goals are something that I don't know if we have talked about it on this podcast. I mean, obviously, this is episode number 1. We haven't talked about it on the Fitness Matters podcast. But if you've been around with the Let's Run podcast, I actually don't know if I have ever talked about this. I know for a fact that I have talked about this in the Killer Beehive, because this is something that we do. We, all of us, and I am raising my hand on this one. This is something I have absolutely done in my lifetime. We set ourselves these goals and we think we're being super, super, super clear about the one thing that we want. I mean, like I said, if you have a goal, it needs to be singular. It is a goal. But then we say to ourselves, either explicitly or implicitly or subconsciously or consciously, but I'd also like this other thing. Now, for me, with the Let's Run podcast, it was pretty obvious. It wasn't even a secret goal. It was right out there that I was trying to do 2 things at once, and I was not super, super succeeding at either one of those things. With lots of us, though, we say, okay, I'm working on my heart health, or I just want to be healthy, or I'm working on, trying to learn how to run. I'm working on whatever it is that we tell ourselves because we think it sounds like a really good goal, and we're doing the things that we want to be doing for that goal. But then in the back of our minds, we're like, oh, but I really wish I could also lose weight. I mean, if I'm going to learn how to run, wouldn't that be great? I'm burning all those calories. Maybe I'll lose some weight too. That secret goal is your guide to what your actual goal is. No matter what you tell me or yourself or your family or your friends or your diary or whatever your real goal is, if there is something in the back of your mind that is still kind of just sitting there like, well, wouldn't it be nice if, my friend, that is your real goal. And I'm gonna tell you this as your friend, as your fitness mentor, as somebody who loves you. Get your real goal. If you want something, you deserve it. You should get it. It's scary. I'm not gonna deny that it's super scary when you're thinking to yourself, but maybe I can't, but maybe I'm not good enough, but maybe I don't have the right tools, but maybe I'm not meant to get that thing. And that's why we always keep it in the back of our minds as our secret goals, because it's terrifying to admit out loud that thing that we, maybe kind of sort of want is actually the thing that we truly want. And I will tell you that actually is an entire podcast episode all by itself. And will be actually pretty soon. It's literally on my list of podcast episodes where we're talking about secret goals and why we have secret goals and the mindset behind them. But for today's purposes, let me tell you this. It's very simple. If you are going to have something in the back of your mind, make it the front of your mind. Truly. Because generally speaking, when we are trying to change our minds, when we are trying to make a decision about something, one of the things that we're choosing between is that secret goal. Whether we mean it to be or not, one of the things is going to be a secret goal if we choose the other thing. Choose the goal and don't make it secret. My friends, again, I'm the lucky one. I'm thinking about how when I chose to make the Fitness Matters podcast, that was the thing that kept coming around and around and around in my mind. But I want to talk about running. I want to talk about running. I like running. I love running. I secretly, not so secretly, want everybody who watches my videos, everybody who listens to my podcast, I want you all to know the joy from running that I feel. I know that not everybody feels that way. I know that not everybody is going to be a runner, but there is absolutely this thing in me because I know how much running changed my life, that is my secret goal. And that's why I'm making it my main goal, not with this podcast, because this podcast, God, oh my God. So do you want to know how much of a secret goal this podcast was too? Here's what it's like to be me. Here's what it's like in my head. I actually have a lot of goals. It's one of the reasons why I'm so firm with you about doing one goal at a time. When I very first started my YouTube channel, I mean, this maybe not very first, but I was probably only less than a year in. And I had, oh my God, I probably only had like 500 subscribers, maybe 1,000. Like I had a teeny tiny audience. And I created this like segment, a series. I think I called it oh my God, I don't remember. They're long gone off of my channel. Don't go look. I deleted them a long time ago. I think I called it the Friday Fit Minute or something like that. You know me and my alliteration. Maybe you don't. Welcome to my world. I really like things that all start with the same letter. It's a thing. But so it was some kind of Friday fitness function. I don't even know. And I would talk about basically fitness matters. I got to be honest. It was a lot more practical. It was a lot more like, hey, this is why squats are good for you or stuff like that. But it was absolutely this kind of like intellectual information that goes behind just working out because you think it's good for you. I wanted you to know why. I always want you to know why. This is such a thing for me. I'm a born preschool teacher. But anyways, so I had this series and it tanked. I mean, even my regular videos were getting, like maybe 100 views or whatever it was. I had so few subscribers. It was so tiny and such a long time ago. But whatever I was getting on my regular workouts, I was getting like nothing compared to that on these fitness talks that we had. So I scrapped that after probably 2 or 3 months. And then like a year or two later, I tried it again. And I had this segment called The Buzz. And then that did okay. Like I had a little bit more of an audience for it at that point. And I actually started a whole channel, The Buzz, all by itself, where we talked about fitness matters and how they matter to you. And yet I didn't really put a lot into it. I didn't admit that it was like a main goal of mine, and it didn't take off very quickly. And so I scrapped that one after, I think I lasted on that one maybe 3 or 4 months, a little bit longer, but it was still in the back of my mind. And then probably a year later is when I started the Let's Run podcast. And I let myself really think about what that was going to feel like and what I wanted from it. And I still kept myself in that situation where I was trying to do 2 things at once. I was trying to give you this. I was trying to give you that. And it's why I'm so excited now to be at a point where I feel like I have finally, truly made up my mind and figured out how to set myself a goal and go after the goal. This podcast, we are always going to talk about fitness matters and your mindset and how much it matters. The running podcast, we're going to talk about running. And it's not going to be a secret. I'm going to tell you how much I want you to run. My main channel is always going to be my main channel. We are going to do full-length follow-along workouts that are meant for you. My friends, if you get nothing else out of today's podcast, here's what I want you to know. You can change your mind and you can have what you want. What you want matters. Fitness matters. Your mindset matters. So I just now realized, I'm trying to like wrap this up, but I just now realized I'm like, okay, so I can't say thanks for walking and running with me today, which is the thing that I normally say. I don't really know how to wrap wrap this up other than the way that I normally do, which is, I want to hear from you. I do. Check the show notes. You will find a link specifically to the Killer Beehive. Super, super interactive, super supportive, and a great way to get a hold of me and ask me questions. You can also find me, obviously, on my main YouTube channel, the Paula B Fitness channel. You can also find me on Instagram. I am on there a lot also. It's a great way to have a conversation. And I do hope that we do, because I love hearing from you, because your fitness matters to me too. My friends, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.